Hello, everyone. Just wanted to give a little intro to the episode here, to the NFL pod episode that Josh and I are doing. Um, because this had been recorded before the Chargers Texans game on Saturday. This episode of Brucci versus Chachi that you're going to hear had been recorded on the Friday night previously. And there's a lot of stuff that I say in the episode about the Broncos being frauds and all that, where I now have to regretfully maybe say the same thing about the Chargers. Um, we just played the Texans and we lost, and it was a weird thing where I don't know if we looked like the worst team in football or if we clearly just had the worst possible luck happening to us in football. And there's kind of a little difference between the two, but both lose you games. For example, the Chargers have the most accurate NFL kicker in NFL history, and he missed a field goal and an extra point. If he had made those, then the game would have been tied going into the fourth quarter or at the end of the fourth quarter, and we might have seen overtime. And the Chargers have won every single game that they've been into overtime this year, so it would have actually been pretty nice to have that game go into overtime, I think. Um, I kind of checked Reddit and whatever, and I noticed that everybody is always so happy about all the Broncos fans are so happy about winning the division and how awesome it is and gloating about it. But that award and winning the division, it's one where everybody really cares about it when it happens to their team. But if they don't win the division, they don't really care about it. Like nobody is using winning the division as a bragging status. You know, like everybody is kind of like, oh yeah, we won the division this year. Yeah, this is awesome for us. But if they lose it, it's kind of like, okay, I don't care anyways, because I would much rather be in the playoffs and not win the division. Anywho, like nobody keeps has a great like brag about their team where they've always won the division and whatnot. They'd rather win playoff games. So I think that's interesting that the Broncos seem to really, really care about that this year. Anyway, we're going to hop into this episode really quick here. It's only our second time doing this ever, so there's still some few mistakes and kinks to work out and everything. But hopefully we talk about some interesting stuff and maybe bring up some stuff you haven't thought of before.
All right, you're going, right?
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right, we got another episode of the Brucci versus Chachi series we got going on here, and we got Brucci coming off one of the one of the most like we are fraud alert
Hey now.
performances of the Broncos from last night.
You got to
So
lose.
he's
to be
probably
a
feeling
fraud.
really good.
Yeah, it was almost a Christmas disaster. I definitely kind of thought it might have been. I was worried it was going to be a trap game going into it, especially when you're looking at a divisional rival and you look at the spread, and I think it closed at like Broncos is a 13.5 favorite, which is crazy for the NFL, let alone against a division rival at home. So I was skeptical, but of course I fell prey to that line and didn't make any money. But, I was unhappy with the performance of the Broncos, but we're one step closer to the first overall seed. So, and it just makes it more interesting going forward with Chase's Chargers still in play, that we could be playing for the division and for the first seed in the last week of the playoff, in the last week of the regular season, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's kind of crazy. I had a picture. I'll probably put it if I do like a little video aspect of this. That's just like a little like video watch along thing, but it'll basically like the graphic was like. Let me see if I can find it, but it was like the AFC teams going into the playoffs, all the top AFC teams were like around 11-4, and then all of the wild card teams were also 11-4. And
Yeah,
I was like, that seems like that seems crazy because I remember growing up, it felt like wild card teams were always like, they were always like 10-7 or something like that.
yeah, and we'll get into it a little bit later. I don't want to jump the gun, but I did some research in kind of the parity of the NFL this year and how good of a year it is for fan and for the fans' perspective, and it's interesting. But I think it's one of the first times that I can remember where the last 2 weeks really, really matter, and not just for a couple divisions, but for the entire NFL, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of
Like,
like really really big games coming down to like your last three games are really important. They're really important
yeah,
for a lot of different teams.
yeah, and it's both divisions and the first overall seeding is up for grabs. Also to make it even more interesting, this is like a good pitch for the NFL, but that the way the scheduling is done, that a lot of the divisional games that will determine the winners of the division are like week 18, since we have
Yeah.
17 games now. So that's pretty neat. It's gonna be great in 2 weeks. Um, what did you think of having kind of pivot a little directionally? What did you think of having football on Christmas? I have strong feelings about it, but what do you think?
Um, I didn't like. Well, first of all, I like it just because it's Thursday. It was Thursday, right? So it was
Correct.
Thursday, so it kind of just felt like there's always football on Thursday anyway. I'm not
Right.
sure if I really liked how many games there were. And I didn't like who was playing. I
Yes.
don't like how you kind of read about how like the Lions have to play and the Lions and the Cowboys always have to play on the special holidays. But I
Yeah, and
really think that they shouldn't have to.
correct. And it feels like we're getting to the point where I love football. We both love football. I love
Yeah.
getting to watch football every day, but it's monopolizing my time to a degree if you're a football fan. It used to be Thursday nights usually were terrible games you don't want to watch, and it still tends
Yeah.
to be that way. And then Sunday, you can pretty much block off your Sunday, and then you got your Monday game, whatever. But now it's like this next 2 weeks we'll have games Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then had Christmas not been on a Thursday, we probably would have had football on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Like that's a lot of football. Unless we're at the point, we might be at the part of the year where there's no Monday night games, but that it feels like if you give a mouse a cookie, before long we're gonna have regular scheduled games Sunday through Saturday, which is like the goal of the NFL. They'd probably love it to monopolize our
To
time.
be on every day. I don't
Right.
like
And I
that. I want that. I
yeah.
would rather have it just all on Sunday.
Yeah. And we'll definitely talk about it going forward, but like I like tradition with sports,
Yeah,
and the NFL is really bad about not keeping tradition. So,
that's
so what do you think?
true.
How do you feel
But I
about?
think really, did you go back to the Christmas, the games on Christmas, a little bit? There's a lot more to unpack there because really you had. It's not just they're on Thursday; they're on Saturday too for some reason.
Right.
I
And it's
don't like that they're on Saturday. That their Chargers are playing tomorrow, and then like the Packers are playing tomorrow or something. I don't get why teams are playing Saturday.
because there's no
Um,
college football. It's there. There is, but they're useless bowl games. And so like, well, we might as well take your time since it's up for grabs. And like
yeah,
they did it to the NBA too. And then in addition to what you're saying, like it's the smallest violin, right? Because they're multimillionaires. But I do
yeah,
feel bad for the guys that they have families or they just don't want to. A national holiday. I don't want to work both days. When 26 of the other teams in the NFL don't have to, why do I have to work on Christmas and Thanksgiving? Like that blows.
oh yeah, for sure. It does really like it's a lot of traveling too.
Yeah, it's like I
Also,
guess Crimea River making millions, but it
yeah,
does suck. Like I do sympathize with them.
it's also weird that Netflix hosted all the Christmas games.
Oh man, we can get down that rabbit hole eventually, but I can rant about all
That's
that
almost
for
like a whole 30-minute section
oh god.
on its own.
That's been a big talking point with some of my friends of just how
The Witcher
not
was
only are
good.
they monopolizing your time, but they're monopolizing your wallet with if you want to be a true fan without breaking the law. Um, but to kind of, keep talking about this season, you talk about how there's a lot of very good teams, and one thing that I noticed looking into it this year is I thought, looking at the standings, it's interesting that we don't really have any teams that are leading the pack that have a superstar, if that makes any sense. Like, yes, the Bills are in the playoffs, I think, as of right now, but they're the only ones. Josh Allen is a superstar. I don't think any of the first place teams right now have bona fide superstars.
Right.
You could argue Philadelphia with Saquon. Okay, Saquon.
Yeah.
But Seahawks, no. Panthers, no. Bears, no. Eagles, we said. Broncos, I love them. They don't have any superstars.
Correct. Yeah.
Like, really, the only person, you've got Saquon, and then you have Aaron Rodgers for the Steelers. And
Yeah.
he's not even really... That's just because of what he
and
was.
Josh
It's
Allen.
not because of how he plays now. I think we just have very good teams and teams using all of the knowledge they have available to them to build full teams without having to have that superstar. Would you tend to agree on that?
Yeah, it's kind of weird though because you have nobody on the Patriots is a superstar, but they're 11-3. Unless you want to call Diggs a superstar, I guess.
Right, and I guess
But
we
he's
can
not
clarify
like
what
the same.
Clarify what a superstar is. Like, where they're on, you go to the grocery store and you see their face all over. Like, Patrick Mahomes is a superstar. Travis Kelce is a superstar.
Yeah,
Who
but they're
else?
on like a
Joe
different
Burrow
level.
is, Lamar is, but like, they're not right now. Like, Drake May is an MVP candidate, but he's not a superstar. Most
Drake
people,
May
they
is
saw him
like
on
a
the street-
second-year quarterback, right? Or like a first
Yeah.
year even.
Yeah, he's second
And-
year, but
Second. Okay, I thought he was a second year, but he didn't start last year, right?
he didn't initially, but he came in at the second half of the year and had
Yeah.
success.
So it's a thing though where maybe it's like, hey, if you go down to Florida, Trevor Lawrence is a superstar, Like that could possibly well be. We're just now getting all that regional commercials and stuff. But
But I
like,
guess it's more of like the.
if you're talking about if you're talking about like countrywide, Mahomes is like, one of the quarterbacks who's won the most games ever in the shortest amount of time ever. So you have like a
Right.
generational talent, but then you also have Travis Kelce, who's like a media circus. So there is a weird like special interest type of fame. Like they're not just famous because they're good. Even like, you know what I mean? Like there's a weird thing where they're into another level with like different celebrity status. Like they're not just NFL superstar like Saquon. They're a normal celebrity. Like
they're making
like a Taylor Swift.
more money off the field than they're making on the field.
Yeah, I would say though, like with some like Trevor Lawrence, though it's interesting where he's always been said to be a superstar. He was supposed to be a superstar his entire NFL career. He's one of the most recruited players ever in the history of recruited out of high schools, recruited out of college, where it was like he's been scouted since he was like 10.
Right.
And, everybody's always been writing these articles about him for a long time. But then he's not really a superstar. But then this year, it's like, okay, finally you're trying to play like you are one. And then you have Herbert, and Herbert is my superstar. And the thing is, he's like the opposite.
I think he has the potential to. He has the
potential.
But I don't think he's interested in it.
That's the thing. Where to me, it's almost like, it's a weird inverse of Trevor Lawrence, where Herbert is a superstar, but nobody calls attention to it, and he doesn't want the attention of it, even
Yeah.
though he's dating a
John
star
Harbaugh.
singer, even though he's dating his head coach, which is concerning, but which is concerning. But when you have that level of success, it's like, you
How
know
could
what?
you not?
Keep, keep
And
doing
we
what you're
talk.
doing.
So not only is there no teams that don't have superstars, as in their pop culture relevance, also it's a complete changing of the guard. Philly is the only team that is leading their division right now that was leading it at this time last year, which I find pretty interesting.
And that is actually interesting, yeah. That also they had a whole NFC East curse where literally zero teams have repeated leading the NFC East since like 2005. So no team
Yeah,
has gone back to back lead the NFC East for 20 years. And then this year they're the only team to do it last year, which is really interesting. There's a weird couple cases where maybe that could change when the season ends. Like maybe the 49ers somehow creep up there to the
yeah.
top. Um, Although I don't think they led their division last year. Did the Rams lead it last year?
Oh,
I can't remember. I can't remember,
uh,
but yeah.
I
I
and
mean,
also,
what's
but
interesting? What's another interesting point though on that one? You have to see who is at the bottom of each division last year and how has that changed? How many teams stay at the bottom of their division year after year? Because we have
that's
like
a
the awful Raiders, the awful the worst
Giants.
team in sports, the Raiders. No, the Jets, right? The
Oh, the
Jets,
Jets are ass.
and then
But you have the
Giants,
Panthers. Panthers are good
and
now. Titans.
the Panthers. Yeah, that's like the biggest jump. The Titans, yeah, Titans, the Browns. So it's always like those teams are always the bottom of their division, but it's like, did they maybe one of those teams maybe get third last year? I don't think so. I can't remember. Was if Burrow was hurt a lot last year? I can't remember for some reason, but
They they did it last. Yeah, he was injured for part of last year, but they went on a crazy run to finish the year, and they had to win their last game to make the playoffs, and they didn't.
oh okay.
And that's kind of what they were expecting this year, but um, part of the whole changing of the guard, I don't know who I would confidently pick right now. It changes week to week of who I would pick to win the Super Bowl or even win their conference. Um, some weeks this year it's been at the beginning of the year it's like, oh, the Bills easily, and then foolishly, the Broncos have beaten every good team they've played
The
except for last
Packers were
week.
really good at the start. And the
Yeah,
Packers were really
Packers.
good at the start of the year.
Chargers look great, but you never know
Yeah,
because they're injury stricken and they're somehow playing very well with all of the
yeah,
things they have working against them. And then you have the teams that are kind of underperforming that have the playoff experience. Like there's something to be said about quarterbacks who have experience in the playoffs. The Rams are hot, but you have Stafford who is a vet who has that experience. And then you've got the Steelers, who I think are not a complete team by any stretch of the
right.
imagination. But with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, you never know. And then kind of the same way for the Eagles. I think the Eagles just keep squeaking by.
Yeah,
And but they've got the playoff experience, and we'll see what happens. Or is it going to be a young team? I think the Seahawks are pretty consistent all year and have like the most dominant players for the year, in my opinion. I think JSN is having a like
one of the best
performance of a
seasons for a
lifetime.
wide receiver ever.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we all knew it was
and
going to be Darnold leading him to that too.
oh man, yeah, that's the whole Darnold and Minnesota thing is blows my mind. Maybe I'll write that down as a kind of an idea for later on, so that we don't get too straight off from our plans. But talking about Stafford, we were just talking about Stafford. Um, the the dude's leading like every statistical category for
Yeah,
quarterbacks,
for
and
quarterback,
even then,
and he's basically gonna be MVP. Yeah.
yeah, I know, and it's tough because I think JSN is having such an incredible year, and there's other quarterbacks like Drake. I think Drake May is having a MVP caliber season. Where any year that any year but this year he probably wins it because Matt Stafford is playing so damn well, and then JSN is having an absolutely amazing year, but then Puka Nakua is off to the side doing essentially the same thing as JSN, and it's kind of an off year for Puka. So
Yeah.
it's a great season so far. And what do you think is going to happen, Chase?
So you're not gonna throw in Herbert for the MVP either? Do I need to make the Herbert MVP case right now?
I mean, you could, but the stats are
The
the
thing
bigger
is,
thing.
okay, the stats, but the thing is though is that you can cherry pick stats and like I get that MVP race. All they're gonna do is because the same people who vote for the Oscars but don't watch all the movies are the same people who vote for the MVP but don't
Well,
watch every game and haven't seen the thing. It seems like that where it's like, okay, yes, you can just Google who has the most passing yards and who has the most touchdowns, and it's like Matt Stafford or whatever. But if you look up like Herbert having the worst offensive line in the NFL, and while doing that, like he's like the bottom team, and the top 7 teams in front of that from last place are all eliminated. Meanwhile, they're 12-4, and on top of that, like they're beating teams by double digits. So that stat is also impressive, but it's not as impressive as simply passing yards.
Well, yeah, and I
Do you know what
think
I mean? So there's like a weird
they've
context thing.
yes, and there's also the context of like the NFL very much likes the Rams, even though they're the same town, they're
Oh
sexy
yeah.
compared to the Chargers. And you're saying Justin Herbert. I also think that Caleb Williams is right there too. Like how
Oh
he is
lord,
handled.
what?
Dude,
Okay, make your case.
he's a gamer.
Ah,
He still makes a lot of mistakes and misses a lot of passes, but when it comes to the end of the game, in crunch time, the dude's consistently showed up this year, which is pretty awesome. I could come at you with Bo Nix for
yeah, he.
MVP, but I'm not.
Oh
I'm not
hell
crazy.
no.
Well, they have a crap ton of fourth quarter comebacks, which isn't necessarily a good thing to brag about, but um, I think it's just going to be statistical. Uh, who's going to win the MVP? It just comes down to stats. And
Yeah, that is interesting.
Matt Stafford's the sexy pick, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's just like the clear like.
And it's also funny that like, and I
Wait,
even think
is he really like leading that team, or are his receivers that good?
I think it's a combination. It's a very very good system, and it's players at receiver that are very very good for that system. It's the same way that the Patriots receivers were, aside from like Randy Moss. A lot of the guys didn't have. Wes Welker was usable on the Broncos, but a lot of guys that were on the Patriots and then go elsewhere at receiver didn't have the same success. And I would say the same thing about a lot of the Chiefs receivers that had success in Kansas City. It's a system quarterback. It's just a giant uh, cohabitation between all of them to make it work. Um, and I have noticed, and this is a lot because of Phillip Rivers, is the and this will be another thing we could talk about in an episode, is the regression of quarterback play, in that you have the older quarterbacks dominating, and I think there's a lot of reasons for
That
it.
is
And that's
interesting. Yeah,
well, I mean, seriously, it's
like the Phillip
Stafford's
Rivers has.
right. The fact that Aaron Rodgers, who's fucking 41, coming off of an Achilles, was more desirable than every other backup quarterback and like half of the starting quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Because like if you're the bottom half of the like in Pro Football Focus, if you're 16 to 32 ranked quarterback, you're pretty expendable. Like your team would trade you away for a better option any day of the week, right?
And
And
Flacco too.
yeah,
Flacco was
and
having a good run on the Bengals.
yeah, but the fact that you could come back as Philip Rivers and just dominate like that is a good indication to me of like how much the sport has changed and relies more on analytics and systems than actual knowledge of the game, if that makes sense. And I'd like to talk about it in another episode and really dive into it.
But the thing is
Um,
with that though, is that part of like I like what you're putting down. You are serving up some. You are cooking right now, and I totally am on your side here. But my
well,
thing is, do you think it's just easier for them to gamble and be like, okay, let's grab Aaron Rodgers for 1 year, hope that it works out, instead of grabbing like making a bid for Sam Darnold and hoping like you don't have to teach him an entire offense.
well,
Like, are
I
they
mean,
just grabbing all the quarterbacks just because they know how to? They don't have to teach them.
they're plugging
They don't have to teach them a lot of offensive schemes and
right,
everything.
and that's what I'm saying is that they train them differently because they're so plug and play. Shit, Philip Rivers hasn't played in 3 years, and they just brought him out, and he knows
Yeah,
football.
but they
The
don't have
older guys,
time. The Colts don't have time to teach
yeah, I know, and
Zach
that's what
Wilson
you're
how
saying.
to
Like,
their offense.
so these teams would rather take a chance on a older quarterback who has shown success in multiple systems to come and limp their way through than have honestly a more physically capable quarterback who can make the deeper throws, is a little bit more mobile, but doesn't have that almost. With some of them you have like Philip Rivers when he was on and when Aaron Rodgers was on, you've got a second offensive coordinator and you have them on the field at all times. Like a lot of times those guys are just running the show. Like they obviously
That's
have
true. Yeah.
they obviously have clearance from the OC and the head coach, but like they are constantly adapting on the fly, and that's from their knowledge. And I just don't think that a lot of the younger generation quarterbacks have the same level of knowledge and understanding of the game, and that's for you know a million different reasons.
I have a hot take here for you.
Okay.
It's a searing hot take that maybe it's not boiling hot. It's just like kind of hot, but cools down after you first take it. it's I think that quarterbacks should call their own plays a lot more than they should. Like I think that it would be interesting if quarterbacks in the huddle they went, okay, the entire offense went, okay, what receivers, what have you guys been seeing out there? Can you guys come up with like, do you guys have a good play here based on what you've been
Oh,
seeing?
they definitely do that. They definitely do that.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I feel
it's
like quarterbacks should be like, okay, I've seen the defense here. Defensive coordinator is telling me this. We're just gonna run this other play.
well, and the thing is that happens almost every play. But and I know exactly what you mean. I don't think that happens as much, but the systems in football are so intricate that for a lot of plays, each receiver has a route tree, and that it is a level of improvisation that is in the onus of of the individual on every single play. So it's like if the safety is playing high, I'm doing this. If I'm getting pressed, I'm doing this. And so it's like yes, the play might say that I'm running a 15-yard post, but because of the way that things are lined up, me and the quarterback are on the same page and have practiced enough that I'm actually going to run a 5-yard out. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So, but I like the idea of, I mean, and Peyton Manning was notorious for doing exactly what you said, and he had great success. But I feel like that just takes a whole nother level of skill and knowledge that a lot of quarterbacks just don't have, and that's what separates
yeah.
the good from the great and the great from the elite.
That just seems like a thing too. Where I remember, there was like a recent video that came out that was just Aaron Rodgers being like, to Kenneth Gainwell on his touchdown that was like, "Hey, just they're in set for the play," and Aaron Rodgers just looks over at him, and he's like, "Hey, just motion out and run a go route."
Yep.
And
Yep.
who knows if that was part of the play or not, but that was like, based on what I see here, just go do that. And then there was
Yeah.
another story that came out from this other like podcast I was watching where it was when Phillip Rivers came back, and it was like a running back who had played with them, and he was saying Phillip Rivers was doing the kind of the same thing where it was just like Phillip Rivers could just tell the running back if he had to block or not based on what he was seeing on defense.
Mhm.
And it was just like you can just certain quarterbacks you can just be like, yeah, just do this because the defense isn't gonna react to this in time, and they're not gonna like if they're trying to sack me, he's too far away to be able to sack me in time before I can get this throw out to you. But it almost seems like you have to play for like a certain amount of time to even be able to recognize how fast a guy can truly get to you from a certain position.
Oh, for sure. And you have to know yourself very well,
Yeah.
and that's honestly what. And then you have the opposite, where like last night, the Broncos game. Sometimes you'll see a third string or like a quarterback that doesn't get very much reps come in and not have a ton of success, but have a surprising amount of success. And it's because there's no tape on them, and they have to like really dumb down
Oh, yeah.
the offense. And so like then
That's one of the
it's
scariest things, by the way.
you're kind of like guessing as what to run defensively, and that's what happened last night with the Broncos. And I'm not saying that's why it was so close, but you'll that's why it's a trap game, right? Like the obvious is almost never obvious in
Right.
the NFL.
Exactly, yeah. I've noticed that a lot too, where it's almost like if you've been watching the NFL a lot for many years, you kind of know those things where it's almost like, that's almost kind of what happened to the Chargers in Week 4 when they played the Giants. Like they started Jackson Dart for the first time, and they sat Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson. I was really upset that they benched Russell Wilson for our game, of course. And then they had Jackson Dart start, and I was like, I don't feel good about this game, and I don't care that the Giants are 0-3 right now. Like this is like one of our biggest games because Jackson Dart they're 0-3, and they basically are already saying, hey, we got nothing to lose, so let's just put Jackson Dart in and see what happens.
Well, really,
That is
Jackson
super
Dart,
scary.
Jackson Dart, that was the same shit that happened with when Colin Kaepernick first came in for the 49ers. It was just such a shakeup that teams
And
just
Herbert
didn't know.
almost in a certain way.
Yeah, didn't know what to do. That it was just like, oh god, this guy can do things that nobody on this team in this offense has been able to do in a long time or ever. It's going to take us 7-8 weeks to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then in the case of the Giants, he doesn't slide or anything, so defenses don't have to figure him out because he's not available because he's getting evaluated for concussions. So
Yeah, I know. Everybody always says stuff about Herbert taking hits and Herbert's health and whatnot, but those Giants players are also. I bet they're
it's crazy.
pretty injury prone. It looks like.
Well, it's not even. It's one thing of being like, who's this, like Anthony Davis, not the same sport.
Yep.
But Anthony Davis gets
He just
blown
got injured
on
again.
by the. I know if the wind blows the wrong way, he gets injured, and that's not no fault to his own. It's just the way that his body is. Whereas you have Jackson Dart and Cam Skattebo, like going out of the way to have a head-to-head collision, which is so dumb. It's a great way to make fans, but it's not a good long-term career choice and or health choice.
And it's crazy that Skattebo's injury.
It's going to be a flash in a pan, man. It is going to be a flash.
Skattebo's injury had nothing to do with his head, which is funny too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, here you go. He's injured.
Yep.
Oh, his leg got ripped off, or his ankle got ripped off. Oh,
hot take: 2030, neither of them will be starters for the New York Giants.
Ooh. I could see that. Yeah,
And part of it is
Jackson
because the
Dart
Giants are a
maybe.
dog. Part of it is Giants are a dog shit organization that even if either of them get good, they're somehow gonna figure out a way to scare them away
That's just
or
somehow the Giants are
mismanage
also
them
one
off
of
their
those.
team.
Yeah, somehow the Giants are also one of those terrible organizations. Like New York somehow has two now. Like they have the Jets and they have the Giants, and the organizations running them are horrible.
Yep,
And I
and
don't
they're
know how
neither
that's possible.
and neither of them are actually in New York. Super fun fact.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. They're at Jersey, right? Or
Yeah,
they play in
Jersey,
New Jersey, right? Yeah,
and
that's pretty funny.
but that means the Buffalo Bills is New York's team.
That's
Um,
true.
that is true. So, who do you think's gonna win it all? What's your or let's we can come back in a couple weeks. What do you think's gonna happen with the standings? Let's just pick who's gonna win each division.
Okay.
Start with the AFC East.
Each division?
Yeah. So you have the AFC East, AFC North. I have the link on the Google Doc at the top. It's the standings,
Hang on, where is it?
very top.
Perfect, perfect. I
So
know. Okay, I think the Patriots will win out.
Yes, because
And
it's
the thing
Jets
is
and
that
Dolphins.
it's like some of the big teams where it's like the Bills. Okay, the Bills, yeah, are 11-4, but sometimes
They've had a hard
those
schedule.
teams, it's like they've had a hard schedule. James Cook has been amazing for them. Like I'm not sure if everybody thought that they would be. James Cook could be like their top scorer, and just to be.
And they don't ever give him the ball
running back
either.
games.
It's absurd.
But they're also a team where it's just like it almost seems like sometimes it's almost like why are you guys losing this game? Like why are you guys in like a weird 50-50 situation
Yep.
with this game? Like didn't the Patriots come back to beat them in that game against the Bills? Like it's just weird stuff like that where you're always like you guys are really struggling. Like the Dolphins beat them though, right? It was just like why are you guys struggling against the Dolphins? It's just head scratchers sometimes.
Yep.
The
Yep.
Steelers, I think the Steelers will win out because the Ravens are like imploding, which is so weird. They have so much offensive talent and they're imploding. The
Oh
whole
yeah,
AFC North
the Steelers are
is
gonna win out.
so weird. That whole division is like the biggest curse I've ever seen.
Actually, I could see the Browns somehow beating the Steelers just because
Oh yeah,
that's just how that division is. But we were talking. I think there's serious trouble in paradise between the Ravens and Lamar.
Lamar
Granted,
and
this is a smear campaign that you'll see in the NFL, but it's been slowly trickling out that Lamar is kind of like a shitty teammate. Okay, maybe not like a shitty person, right? But like late, they have to. Harbaugh literally said that they practice in the afternoon in the earlier in the area when it was really hot out because Lamar couldn't get there on time for the morning practices. And then it's the attitude, falling asleep in meetings. Like they are not painting their superstar well. And I'm already seeing a bunch of like mock trades. I don't see it happening. It would have to be a fucking like a lot. Someone would have to give everything for him, and I just don't see it happening. But I think I think either he's gonna move or Harbaugh's gonna move. I like Harbaugh as a coach. I have a feeling his time's up. I think this might be it this year.
I think everybody in the
so yes, the Steelers.
I
are
can't
gonna win that
imagine
division.
Baltimore would be. Yeah, I don't imagine Baltimore would be happy if they lost Lamar but kept Harbaugh. Like that seems like a city vote where it's like, we're not letting Lamar walk, and we don't even care if the Ravens are bad in the future. Like, we're gonna stick by Lamar. I totally get that because Harbaugh's been there for so long too. It's kind of like,
so we're 2 for 2 on the
Steelers,
same page. Patriots and Steelers, and then in the
Yeah.
South, this is a little tougher because
I think no. I think.
Oh,
the
yeah, you're right. The Jaguars
so
have the
good.
Colts and then
Yeah,
the
I think-
Titans.
Yeah, I think the Jags are actually like they're gonna go to the championship game and they could be in the Super Bowl.
I think they could.
Their momentum is so sky high right now.
I know. I think
They can't
that
be
their
stopped.
problem is going to be what it was for has been for Joe Burrow and well, Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl. Let's say Josh Allen is like they get there and then for whatever reason can't take that next step. I think that they're going to maybe make the divisional championship game or the conference champion. I think they might make the conference championship game and then ultimately lose. But it's going to be some good experience, and I think that
I
going
think
into
that they are better than every single other team. I think that they're the number one team in the AFC right now,
I think
in
when
my
they're
opinion.
playing at their top, but the thing is I've part of it is like okay, is this new and improved? Like, are they going to sustain this? But Trevor
Yeah,
Lawrence,
but they haven't
his
lost. They haven't lost in like
I know, man, but that's just like it's the way. Look at the Vikings last year. It's like
they
okay,
lost by
Sam.
one field goal to the Bengals. And then they lost to the Seahawks, which are the number one team in the NFC. And they lost to the Rams. They got destroyed by the Rams, 35-7. That
Yeah,
is their wait, is this the yeah? They got destroyed by the Rams, 35-7, which is like their wake up call game. And the Rams are their NFC, the top NFC team, like their NFC number 1-2. And then they barely beat the Raiders though, which is interesting. They lost to the Raiders, or they won against the Raiders by 1 point. And then they
and then
lost
they
to the
spanked the
Texans,
Broncos.
which is really interesting. They lost to the Texans, super interesting. They whooped our ass 35-6. One of our worst game probably of the entire season. They beat the Cardinals by a field goal, whooped the Titans, whooped the Colts, whooped the Jets, and then they played well against you guys. So it's like
But
their losses are against good teams and
and I
playoff division
think
teams.
they have the roster. I just think that they
And they've been playing
are
and they've
gonna
been playing better too.
they're gonna run into just the lack of experience in the playoffs. Experience in the playoffs is huge. It takes a
They
real
had that
special
comeback
team.
win against us though. Like they had that
Yeah,
comeback win against us like 2 years ago. That was pretty big.
yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I think
I'm a
that they
I'm a believer in the Jags. I think the Jags are
it's I want to see a full
on a
year of
roll.
Trevor Lawrence. I want to see this whole year to fully believe in him cuz he still has games where you're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? But it doesn't happen as much as it used to. He still makes some silly mistakes that the elites don't make. Uh, but
Yeah,
shoot,
I
I
think he's
hope that
honestly like yeah, I agree.
I hope he sustains, man, because he's exciting when he's firing on all cylinders. That offense is awesome, and he's elite when he's on. But
Also when they
so
beat the Chiefs too, that was a big game for them.
yeah, that was. And it was sad because everyone had big games this year against the Chiefs that they won, and then
Yeah.
retrospectively, it's gonna be like, who cares? They were dog shit. And it's like, no, they were good up and it's like they were
No, yeah,
good.
they were in those games for sure.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
it was not like they were playing the Raiders.
I think the Texans could make a splash in the playoffs. I don't see them being able to overtake the Jaguars just with the remaining schedule. I think that the Chargers and that's probably the best game this weekend is the Texans and Chargers.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the Chargers should win but
Yep.
being in LA doesn't matter because it's
True.
LA and um, but I
And we're
think they're
having
gonna
really
win.
bad rain here, so I wonder
Yeah,
like if a
what that'll
lot
be
of
like.
people are big. A lot of people are going to be like, I'm not going to go outside.
Yeah, and then
Are you
we've
kidding
got
me?
the AFC West,
But the Broncos,
which
see, this division is nuts. The Broncos and the Chargers. I feel like honestly, I can't lie to you. This isn't me. This is not me being a troll or a rage baiter. I think that the Chargers are way better than where the Broncos are at right now.
oh right now, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think when the Broncos, I think right now if the team that the Broncos are fielding, they're gonna lose the first round of the playoffs. Um, but if you talked at the peak, the Broncos when the Broncos beat the Eagles, or when they shit on the Cowboys, like they were the best team in football at that time. Their defense, when that defense is humming, it's just the offense. The offense lacks they have good role players, and they have Cortland Sutton is fantastic. He's a Pro Bowler, but they don't have a every time this person touches the ball, fireworks might happen.
Yeah.
They don't have that. And so they win games by 4 and 5 yard gains and sustained drives. And they'll have an occasional 15, 20 yard splash play. But if going into the playoffs, they can't keep getting down. It's like that
Yeah.
same when they play the Chargers next week. I think the Broncos can beat the Chargers, but if the Broncos go down to the Chargers, I just don't see them have the Broncos defense is good enough to stop the Chargers, but the Broncos offense isn't really made to come back like that. They've done it this year, but like I just don't see it happening with what we're doing right now. Whereas inversely, the Chargers, that offense looks beautiful when it's firing on all cylinders. It's like it's Bills a couple years ago. It was Lions last year. Like that Chargers offense is awesome, and that's with
For sure.
a makeshift offensive line. So I still think the Broncos are going to take the division because I think the Chargers are going to have a hard game this next week, and it's a coin toss. So, gun to my head,
Yeah.
I'm choosing the Broncos, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers did too. Because, it's like 1 win versus 2 wins.
Because the thing, too, though, is that divisionally winning, we're 5-0.
Yeah.
We haven't yet to lose. Chargers have yet to lose against division opponents. That being said, the Chiefs and the Raiders are combined 1-9 in the division.
Which is awesome.
The Raiders have not beat anyone all year. The Chiefs have only won one time. Against divisional opponents.
The Raiders are always in some sort of shit.
I know
that they create on their own.
It's so
and
awesome.
Today they told Max Crosby that they're sitting him for the rest of the year, and Max Crosby is he is. For whatever reason, the dude bleeds black and silver. Nothing that no matter how shitty the Raiders are, the dude wants to retire a Raider. And then they pull this shit. Not only are they going to get I wouldn't be surprised if they end up losing their first round draft pick over this because it's literally point shaving in my opinion. But also Max Crosby, he might just be fucking trade me. I don't care. I'm not wasting my career here. You've seen it so many other athletes that have spent their entire career on a bad franchise. Yes, they're beloved, but they kind of limit their superstardom and their legacy by not winning a championship or being on a competitive team. So I just think that's interesting, and it's just amazing to see that the Davises are so incompetent year after year.
Yeah.
I love it. If only we can
it's awesome.
If only we can see continued bad luck and hellacious season for the Kansas City Chiefs, then I could die happy if the Chiefs just continue to implode. It's interesting. The AFC there's no definitive best. Well, I think the Patriots play the best team football, but there again is what's it going to look like in the playoffs? Even though they have great coaching, I think Vrabel is a fantastic coach. It's not like he has some impressive playoff. He's never won a Super Bowl as a coach, so the only team that has a Super Bowl winning coach is the Steelers and the Broncos. Because Harbaugh didn't win one. They lost.
No.
Who's the Jaguars coach?
Liam Cohen.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't have a Super Bowl.
He's never been to it.
Yeah. So it's interesting, and that talks about my parody that I talked about earlier. I did some analytics before we moved to the NFC. Just because this is going long, I want to squeeze this in before. So NFL parity is we talk about, and parity is there's a good amount of good teams, and it's well balanced. Is what parity means. It's balanced. So this year, 5 divisions have less than a 1-win gap between first and second place, and that is significantly more than last year. And in fact, 2015, there was two. So if you're going 10 years ago, there was two divisions that had division winners that didn't have a winning record. So that shows you how good the parity in the NFL is compared to historically. I think that's we're experiencing a really cool season is what I'm getting after, is very good football. Yes, there's some really bad teams, but the overall play is elevated because there's so many winning teams, which makes for a better product.
The games have been good. There's been some real stinkers though this year for sure too. Though.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you get the sour and the sweet.
The Christmas games, for example,
those were not that good.
When they booked it at the beginning of the year, all 6 of the teams were playoff teams last year, I believe, and this year only one of them is the Broncos. So, yeah, it's just, and then there's who would have thought that the Bucks and Panthers game in Week 18 is going to be like must-watch TV.
Yeah.
That's just, the parity's so good. So the NFC East, it's already decided. It's the Eagles.
Yeah, all the other teams are eliminated.
Yep, and the Eagles, they're fascinating to me. They get so much hate for a team that's had continued success. Like, it seems like there's always a fire being put out there, whether it's everybody thinking Jalen Hurts sucks, or they need to fire the coach, or A.J. Brown is always complaining, being a diva. Saquon Barkley just having a down year compared to last year. There's always a talking point with them, but they're the team that has the most playoff experience right now. That their roster, the defense isn't as good, but like their roster is still really good and has the opportunity to go after another Super Bowl. But it's what version of the Eagles is going to show up.
Oh yeah. Like, are you going to get
really...
the Super Bowl Eagles from last year at your game? Are you going to get like the now we're falling apart after the Super Bowl?
The Jalen Hurts with the Tim Tebow numbers where he has like 92 passing yards, and yeah, that happens.
Well, in the game that he played us in, he had 5 turnovers.
Yeah. Oh,
and he might be the only player to turn over the ball 2 times in one play.
Which sucks because I absolutely love Jalen Hurts. He's one of my favorite players on the Broncos. Yeah, because I like his college story. He like stayed and supported Tua even though he lost the position. Like, he lost the starting job, and he stayed and supported him. And he's like, I'm a team player. And then he was a grad transfer at Oklahoma, and almost won a championship there. I just really like the guy. He seems humble, and he's kind of always the underdog. Which is
even though they've won the Super Bowl.
Even though they've won the Super Bowl, yeah. Because
they have a completely stacked offense.
Yes.
He's the underdog.
He is, yeah. Just like Baker Mayfield, who was the first overall pick, and he's a Heisman winner, is somehow an underdog. Whatever. NFC North, this is the division that was the biggest letdown going into the year.
Oh yeah.
This was another division where there was talks of like, could they be a 4-division playoff team or 4-team playoff division? With obviously the Bears were the team that was kind of the outlier.
Yep.
And people were like shooing in the Lions for the Super Bowl, and guess what? Eliminated. Vikings eliminated.
That's why I'm not sure if anyone should ever be betting on division winners in Vegas, because it's like a year ago, if you were to say, hey, the Bears are going to be 11-4 and the Lions are going to be in last with 8-8, and who knows if they're going to have a positive record at the end of the season, nobody would bet on that besides from like Chicago fans,
right?
Like nobody could see that coming.
Right.
The fall that the Lions have had is just crazy.
And I think
sometimes when they're playing bad football, they might look like one of the worst teams.
Oh, they looked like one of the worst teams in the NFL yesterday. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And Dan Campbell has said it where he said this was 2 or 3 years ago when they went to the NFC Championship game. He's like, this might be our one shot. Some teams never get back here. Like even though they have the same roster, it just things have to fall the right way, and unfortunately, I think that's might be what we're experiencing. And I love Dan Campbell as a coach, but my guess is he might be gone after next year, if like mid-year next year, if they don't turn
If
their
they have
shit
a big
around.
losing streak or something.
Yeah, sometimes it's like even if you are a good coach and like you've had success, sometimes the relationship it's just time to move on.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel like with the Iowa Hawkeyes and Kirk Ferentz. Great coach, continues to put him in, the top third of the Big Ten every year, but it's like I think time's run its course and it's ready to
Oh, yeah.
start over with someone new.
Time ran its course like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Who do you think's gonna win this division?
The North?
NFC North. Yeah.
Oh, the Bears. The Bears, no
Yeah.
problem. The
Yeah,
Vikings
'cause
and the
the
Lions game was one of the worst things I've ever seen. The Vikings, the Vikings literally have 0 offense. They don't have a quarterback. I just want to make that
which
clear.
is hilarious.
They do not have a quarterback.
Which is hilarious.
They won a game. They won against the Lions, by the way. They didn't play the Raiders or the Cardinals. They didn't play a really bad team. They played the Lions and won 23-10 with 3 passing yards total for the whole game. 4 quarters of football in 2025. A team had 3 passing yards. That is crazy. They did not throw the ball. Like he did not throw the ball to a simple slant route to get 5 yards like one time. That is just one of the craziest things, and they won. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they won.
it is crazy.
That's one of the craziest things. The Packers.
It's an all-time.
I could have said that's one of the all-time games and like weirdest games ever.
Yeah.
The Packers. The Packers could have been a top team. They had a weird implosion like midway through the season, and I think they're just too injured now. Jordan Love being out. They had some defensive players out, I think.
I also
Tucker Kraft went out. I think Tucker Kraft was he was a big part of why they were really good earlier. They had too many injuries, like hurting them, holding them back this year, I think. But I think the Bears just had that. They just have a special sauce right now. Like they just have a little. They're cooking with that special sauce.
I definitely
had that
have
bad game against the Pack.
I definitely have a little scratch on the Bears having some success in the playoffs. I don't know if they can do it.
Oh, I see. I totally see them playing like getting whooped their first game in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're another
see that.
They're another example
of
of like
Bears, but like,
Caleb
this feels
Williams
like a
might
weird
show
Bears
up.
Season.
And I think the same thing with Jordan Love is like neither Caleb Williams or Jordan Love, like they both have really, really good games. Then they have games where I'm sure fans are like, okay, do we need to be looking at the draft for a new quarterback? More so Jordan Love than Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams, like he might throw for 400 yards or throw 4 of the worst interceptions you'll ever see.
Yeah.
So I agree. I mean, the Bears would have to completely shit the bed to not win the division, I think. They've got the 49ers and Lions. 49ers game will be good on Sunday night, but the Lions game, like they should smoke the Lions. If they need to, they just need to win 1 to get the division.
Oh, 100%. And
but
like the Lions, a lot of Lions players got hurt. Like Amon-Ra might be hurt. So
honestly, though, if you're looking
done.
at
Lions are done.
If you're looking at the standings, like there might be a world where if you're not going to get the first overall seed, like you might want to do some planning for matchups, and like it might not hurt to lose because you might end up facing the Panthers instead of having to face the 49ers or the Rams as a wild card team.
That's true.
Yeah, so okay, NFC South.
This is the worst division in football, by the way. Anytime I see a game on that has one of these teams in it, I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be one of the worst games
Well, and it sucks
I've ever
because
seen.
every single one of the teams have something exciting on them, on their team, but everything else is like, what the fuck? This is terrible. The Falcons, like, they have an explosive offense when it's working, but when it's not, it's just unwatchable football. The Saints are just shit. The Bucks, man, when that offense is clicking, like when Baker is on and he's got like that chutzpah to him, there's no one more exciting in football to
Dude, talk
watch.
about a fall from grace. They literally had talks about, is Baker Mayfield the MVP for this season? Is Egbuka, is he gonna be the rookie of the year for this
Oh,
season? They had
well,
players of the year talk for
I
multiple
remember,
positions on their team, and now they've lost 3 in a row, and they
I,
don't look to be getting better.
I remember watching.
And the
I was looking at
Panthers are in
I was
third.
looking at futures where Egbuka. This is like middle of the year. Egbuka was like a minus 600 to be the offensive rookie of the year, and in the last like 5 weeks, he's had like
He's had,
five
yeah,
catches total.
he's had
Yeah, the
maybe 50
Panthers. It's
yards.
crazy that they're good. I remember
I don't know
two
if
or
they're good. I don't know if they're good or if they just happen
yeah.
to win games. Like, if they just happen to win, like, they're just like, hey, I don't know how that happened, but we won. Like, you know what I
I
mean?
mean, they've beaten some good. They've beaten some good teams,
That's true.
and they've gotten spanked in other games. Um, I don't think they're going to do anything in the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if they win one. Like I don't see a world where they make the Super Bowl or even the championship game, but I could see them winning the wild card weekend and making it to the divisional round. Um, I think that Bryce Young is growing into the role that they thought he was going to, but it's a steep climb, especially when you're so short. But they're fun to watch. There's no like superstars. It's a kind of like the Broncos in a way. It's kind of just a bunch of role players that when it's working, when everyone's doing their job, they play good football. But then they also are susceptible because they don't have any superstars to just get stomped. But I think they should win because they've got Hula. They've got the Seahawks and the Buccaneers versus who do the Bucks have? The Bucks have the Dolphins and Panthers. So the Bucks would have to win out. They should beat the Dolphins, but I just don't know if they're going to beat the Panthers. So like, and I don't see the Panthers beating the Seahawks. So I guess it
No.
is up in the air. I do choose the Panthers. What do you think?
Oh, I definitely think it's the Panthers. I only think it's the Panthers, though, because I think the Buccaneers are just, like, dead. I think they're dead on the inside. Like, they're just, for some reason, the light inside of them has gone out. It has been extinguished.
You know, I think
They,
would be fun, and I just thought of this.
uh-huh.
I think Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans should go to the Steelers. I think I think that would be fun
To the Steelers. That would be
because
crazy.
the Steelers, in my opinion, their defense, if they're playing well, which is, you know, one week they're the best, and then the next week they're one week the defense is the best, and the next it's like you're telling me there's a Hall of Fame player on this defense that looks like they're all third stringers.
Right, right.
But I think it'd be fun to see Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield as a tandem elsewhere.
And with the
That,
Steelers, it's also like, yes, I do believe that that all these players in the defense are closer to 40 than they are 30.
yeah,
It's like, yes, I do believe that they're the oldest defense in the league.
unrelated, just sidetrack. But I also think Mike Tomlin is a perfect example of like great career, beloved by fans. But I think he's slowly coming to his time too, where the relationship might just be over. Like
Oh,
it might
100,
just be time to
100%.
start over, even though he like hasn't had a losing season. But so we're both on the Panthers train. Now for the fun division, the NFC West. Shout out Tom Hines. Poor Cardinals. Um, I don't
This
know.
is
I
one of the
think
hardest. This literally has to be like, I could see the 49ers sneaking out the top. But this is just a thing where it's almost like the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Rams. Those all of those three teams are the top teams in the entire NFC. And like
yeah,
all those
and
teams might as well just be rank 1. Like all those teams might as well be winning the division.
and at one point or not this year, uh, all three of them, in my opinion, were the best team in the NFL on
Oh
certain
yeah.
given weeks. And
If the
the thing
49ers
is
have
like,
everybody healthy, they
yes,
are for sure.
big if. It's like one of those things. It just we keep
But they're
saying
injury
if
prone.
when it happens, it's like, well, it
Yeah.
hasn't happened.
It's just when it falls their way. It's what you were saying.
And the
earlier.
crazy thing is that they've got a Pro Bowl receiver that isn't even like there. Like Brandon Ayuk is amazing.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like not playing. Seahawks, I think they've got a fantastic defense. I love Sam Darnold's story to me is really cool. I would love to see the Seahawks do well. Like that's probably
I just have a thing with Darnold. For some reason, I just think it's gonna be like the Vikings last year, and like when he gets into the playoffs, I just have a weird feeling that he's just not gonna seal the deal. I will say though, looking at this chart, it's interesting. The Seahawks and the Rams have a point differential of 150 more points scored than allowed. So they have like one of the best offenses and one of the best defenses.
yeah, exactly.
And no other team even comes close to that. So
Exactly.
the 49ers though, I honestly think the 49ers could maybe have gotten around those numbers if everybody had stayed healthy. I don't know if the 49ers how their defense is really looking. I think the defense is probably like okay enough. I mean, they've lost 4 games. I'm sure they're okay, but
kind of a hot take. I think Brock Purdy's a liability. I think he is a perfect example of a system quarterback that, like, when push comes to shove, I think he's a liability. Like, he lacks that. He's not a playoffs. You need a baller for the most part, and I don't think he's the guy. But good on him. He makes do. You know, he got paid essentially, but I think if you took him and put him on the Seahawks, they're not having the same success they are with Sam Darnold, the quarterback. And that's probably a super hot take.
I get that. No, I think I buy into that. That makes a lot of sense to me. I looked at the AFC point differentials here. The AFC point differentials are the opposite, where they have the worst point differentials. The Raiders have minus 169. So they've had 169 more points scored on them than they've allowed. And then the Titans have minus 152. And then the Jets have minus 144. And then to put that into perspective, though, only one team in the NFC has minus over 100 in point differentials.
And they're not even last in their division, which is funny.
Yeah. Which is super interesting. The Raiders could literally have minus 200 point differential, which is crazy.
Probably. So who are you choosing in this division?
Dude, if I have to choose one, for some reason I don't like the Rams. I think I kind of have a secret hate for them for some reason.
Right. Well, I don't like Puka Nacua.
I don't understand why he has to make all that stuff public. Just do all your stuff in quiet there, man. Like,
yeah,
he's becoming really unlikable, and all of that stuff that he's doing off the field is just ruining his reputation. And then the 49ers, it's like the 49ers should be like 15-0, but they're not. They're all like, they have McCaffrey, who's like the top running back this season. They have Kittle, who scores like 5 touchdowns a game. They just don't really have the best receivers. It's just kind of odd. I think the 49ers are a team, but they're 4-1 in the division though, so that's pretty good.
The Rams, because it's based upon. This is a dumb question, but it's based upon your overall record, right?
What is?
Who wins the division? It goes overall record
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
it goes your divisional record.
yeah.
If you look at the upcoming schedule, the Rams have the easiest route by far. It's the Falcons and Cardinals versus the Seahawks. It's Panthers, 49ers, and the 49ers, it's Bears, Seahawks. So, like,
Who did the Rams
it's
play their last 2 games?
the Falcons and the Cardinals. So,
Oof. So then either the Rams or the.
so
Damn.
the Seahawks can, I think the Seahawks would probably take it, I think, if they go 1-1. No, that depends. I guess I don't know head to head who would win.
I'm just gonna say Seahawks. I think Seahawks have like just been going crazy with their offense, and they're kind of weirdly like they found a way to win against the Rams. And I think that there are some things with the Rams that are gonna add up somehow. Like they're gonna seem like they're gonna be really good, and then once one receiver gets injured or once somebody gets injured, they're gonna be like, "Oh, we have nobody else to turn to right now." So, like if Stafford got hurt, they'd be. I don't know what they would do. I don't know. No, their backup is Garoppolo, I think, which I only
That's
found out
crazy.
about like the last game. He was standing on the sideline. I was like, Jimmy G is just still a backup.
That's a
so
good.
crazy.
That's a good backup, though. I don't hate that.
Yeah, I know it's true. He might not be the best quarterback, but I mean, he's been in this division a long time.
Let him have the Nick Foles playoff. Let him win a Super Bowl. All right, so this has been a good prediction. Let's save playoff picks for after this week. Let's make this a weekly thing because I actually find football really fun to talk about. So we can save our future predictions. But is there anything else you want to get into today? Depending on we're going about an hour and 15.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of good nuggets on here, but I think
do we have one other thing? Do we have one other team or one other thing to stab on to like maybe do an hour 30?
Oh yeah, I mean,
do we stadiums?
yeah, we can talk about stadiums. Talking earlier about traditions and how I don't like how quickly NFL changes things. You know, the kickoff, the reviews on penalties, the way that officiating calls on sportsmanlike conduct. Like they just so quickly change things. And another thing is like the stadiums. The whole stadium debacle to me is so gross for a number of reasons. It's very, very wasteful. You have teams that have perfectly functioning stadiums that up and leave because they want to get the next high-tech thing. But my question is like for the real football fans that the season tickets that are paying for, you know, they're keeping the lights on, the season ticket holders, they're going to be there whether there's LED TVs on top of every concourse or if it's like bare bones. You know what I mean? Like they don't give a shit.
Well, the thing is that for some reason all the owners are trying to make their stadiums be the Cowboys stadium.
Exactly.
Like, and so
that's what I
stadium.
don't like.
Every single owner just wants the best stadium, and it's like the Chiefs one only makes sense to me because of from an owner's point of view, where it's like, holy crap, our fan base has like quadrupled in the past like 2 years, and if we have a super high tech stadium, it'll almost be like really, you know, they probably make a ton of money now from just random people just being tourists, you know, like tourists from all these other cities just coming through. But I hate the thing is that the Arrowhead Stadium is an institution. Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
That's like
it's
Lambeau
fun.
Stadium. The thing is that sometimes some stadiums aren't institutions as much as others are. Okay, and that hurts me to say. I despise it. I hate
What do you mean?
it.
The Chargers isn't an
The
institution?
Chargers, not the SoFi
every
Stadium.
Every game isn't an away game for the Chargers?
But the original Chargers Stadium is not as much of an institution as the Arrowhead Stadium.
And Arrowhead in particular is really cool because it's next to Kauffman, so it's like you have the two major sports teams in the same complex, and it's cold. You know, it's oh God, I don't want to have to play Kansas City at Kansas City in January or in the
Yeah.
playoffs. And everyone's moving indoors, and then they're moving to Kansas. Like, they're moving across state lines. Bears are probably moving to Indiana. Like,
The Bears one is worse than the Chiefs one to me.
yeah, and
Everybody makes a
and
big deal about the Chiefs one, but they're moving it down the street. It's not that far away from where it originally is. I still hate it. It makes me sick to my stomach because it's like they don't care. I don't know if it's just me. Well, it's not because you said this earlier where you value the tradition. How come the no owners value history? Why don't they value the history
right.
of their stadiums at all? Like,
Or
can't they build something cool at Arrowhead as well?
or how about this? Pay for your own fucking stadium. That
Dude,
drives me. That's a whole nother thing. But it's
yeah,
like
that's a whole other
you're
part of like the
you're
whole
telling
owners
me
thing.
you're billionaires and you're gonna like make Joe Schmo who doesn't even watch football pay taxes to build your stadium when you have like $20 billion. Like, no, fuck yourself.
There's also a lot of people
Honestly,
who don't care about the NFL.
that's what I'm saying. Like, a
So
lot
all
of people
these people
don't
who
give a
don't
shit.
care about the NFL are gonna end up paying for the stadium. And then
Whereas
on top of that, it's also like I think part of the deal was that like Kansas is gonna get zero. They're gonna get butt kiss from the revenue at the new Chiefs Stadium. So they were looking to get. I think like the report was saying that Kansas gets like maybe 10% of each game, the revenue of each game at the stadium that plays.
Damn.
And they were like, I think they were trying to get the same type of deal from Missouri. And it's like, if you're Missouri, why would you ever do that? You would never do that. You would never be like, oh, hey, we'll build you this new stadium. And, oh, by the way, the revenue we get from your games, go ahead and, like, cut that by half. And go ahead and, like, give all the share that we get from, like, your stadium. Just go ahead and make it as low as possible. Yeah, thanks.
Well, and it's just really dumb to me too. It's like now there's going to be Arrowhead, for example. It's going to be there just like a giant building that is just empty and it's outside and it's like, yes, they can have concerts, but for it to be profitable and even make sense to even host a concert, it has to be a big enough band to fill out the stands. You don't just have a mid-sized band come in every night and fill up, a quarter of the stadium because of the operations costs. Like, there's very specific things that can go into an NFL stadium. So it's just like hundreds of acres just being wasted. And the building and the seats, like everything about it is just disgustingly wasteful. And then also the tradition, and yeah, it's not cool. And then like in another 20 years, they're just gonna up and leave and go somewhere else to make more money. It's like, shit, they might end up in Oklahoma for all we know.
Oh, yeah.
And
The Bears one is like also when they move the Chiefs one moving the stadium down the street isn't as big as an FU as the Bears one.
The Bears moving to Indiana because it's literally not even going to be close.
Dude, the Bears one, you could literally take a subway to it. Like you could literally like walk to it.
Yeah. Well,
And
parking
now
was
it's
a
like,
night-
oh hey, we're gonna go all the way to Indiana, Soldier Field. Like, forget that. The Chicago Bears. That is about as big as a staple as the Bulls and the Chicago Beef. Like the Bears being in Indiana is one of the worst things I've ever heard. Like, are they actually going to be called the Indiana Bears? Are they going to be called something else? Like, what? How does that even work? I really don't like that, and I really do not like that. I really don't like that they're trying to spin it to where it's like we're building a better stadium for the fans and for the consumers to have a better experience, and that is just not true.
And you know how my feelings on money is in particular, but like a lot of the bells and whistles that stadiums offer are so financially unattainable. like you go to a game and they've got like the fan zone, or it's like that's an extra $100 to get a pass to that. Like it's just a bigger and bigger financial barrier for so many people. And also it's like I just want to watch football. I don't give a shit. How about instead of building a new stadium, make $2 hot dogs and $5 beers? Like that'd be better.
Well, also to support the cost of the stadium, they're gonna have to up the price of the beers and the hot dogs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like $10 a beer, $12 a hot dog. At what point? That's the thing, though. It was like, okay, we're gonna go to a stadium. The whole like handshake of a stadium was that it's a super big event, crazy amounts of people. The food is gonna be awful. The food is gonna be horrible, but it's only gonna be like $5. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna be like, well, we have to feed all these people. Just get the stale chips and the stale nacho cheese. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, why do we need steaks? Like, am I trying
I
to
think
get?
there's a few teams that have like fan pricing. I think the Falcons are one where they
That's
still
true.
have they have the higher tier stuff, but the basics you can get like a Bud Light for $5. You can get a popcorn for $2, a hot dog for $2, a soda for 3. Like you can get the staples.
Yeah, all
for
stadiums
cheaper.
should be doing that.
Yeah, I agree. Because like shit, I go to a game now and it's like I don't buy anything in the stadium. I'm more likely to buy a jersey at full price than I am to buy a $12 hot dog. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
that's just silly. And the Commanders, they want a new stadium. They're
Well,
talking
is
about
that the same one that they've had that's been like
yes,
damaged and it's been
yes,
like leaking forever and there's
and Donald Trump wants them to name it after him, which oh my god, that'd be so funny.
that's one of the worst things ever. But if that happens and that team is like cursed forever. Like they've had that Dan Snyder thing hanging over them. And then
knowing
be
him,
Trump
it would be
Stadium.
like it would be Reds. Trump would make it Redskin Field at Donald Trump Stadium. Like, oh man, it's interesting that it's just like everything else, and you could talk for. I mean, I could talk about football for 24 straight hours, but it's like it is a business at the end of the day, and they're gonna do absolutely whatever they can to suck the money out of everyone.
It's a business, but they're trying to make it a business by paying the littlest amounts they can pay and reaping the most benefits they can reap. And there's zero give and take, and there's basically like zero benefits to a fan's point of having a giant stadium built.
Where I will say, the funny thing is the Broncos. I like the Broncos. I like where the Broncos play. I like Mile High. But they're getting a new stadium as well. But it's like in conjunction with Denver. Like they're really working with the city. And it's like supposed to be more eco-friendly. And the Waltons, like it's completely funded by the owners, which is cool. But also, like, why do you need a new stadium? Like, yeah, it's cool that they're paying for it, but it's like the one they had was I've had fun every time I've gone to it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, what is the big deciding factor in creating
Right.
a new giant stadium besides just trying to do it and hopefully it'll make a big profit? Because the thing is, you don't know if you're. The thing is, though, is you can make that giant stadium and your team could suck, and then it's just
look
great.
at the Raiders.
Exactly.
At the Raiders. Like if the Raiders, if the Raiders weren't in Las Vegas, which obviously is like, well, if ands, it's like, who cares if that's not the way reality is? But it's like, if you took the Raiders and put the team that they're fielding in that stadium and you put that in like Cleveland, not Cleveland, Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a better example. No one would go to the games. Like there'd be no one there.
Oh, 100.
But it's because it's Vegas, they get comp tickets with the casinos and it's a destination. But like, nobody would go if they weren't in Vegas.
100%.
But all right, well, I'm glad we did this podcast. it's fun because there is always a million different things you can talk about. I mean, we got to literally 3 of our talking points on our Google Drive, which is fun
Yeah.
because that means we can just like keep these other topics and maybe every episode just tack on a little conversation on top of what's happening. Because we got some
Dude,
really good stuff.
every week for this year, every single week, I feel like something crazy happens, and where it's just like, did they really win that game with only 3 net passing yards? Did they?
That's so true.
Did they really? Did the Lions really throw have 6 turnovers on offense? Did Jalen Hurts really have 5 turnovers that one game? You know what I mean? And it's
did I really pay for NFL Sunday Ticket when half the games aren't available on it? Did I really do that?
Did the Broncos did the Broncos really come back to win in the fourth quarter? Like after all that?
Is
Really?
Russell Wilson really gonna be the stopgap quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs next year? I sure hope so.
That would be so funny.
Anyways, all right. Well, that was fun. Thanks for listening, everyone.